Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy StumpD back from the OPTC video, and in today's video, we're moving on from the type-based teams into the class meta for PvP breakdown. And in today's video, we're focusing on the class that started it all. We're starting with the Slasher team. Now, if you guys haven't been following this series, I've been breaking down every single type. And if you guys checked out yesterday's episode with Int, it was a very good segue into this part of the series where we are talking about classes. Now, the back end of Int, we were talking about Int Powerhouse and Quick Driven, and we've spoken about stuff like Free Spirit Psi and Slasher Strength, those types of class color meta. However, really in the type meta, it's basically type versus type. But from the very beginning, we had a meta where Slashers just absolutely dominated, and now we're sort of coming back into a meta that does showcase three very strong teams. The first one being Slasher, we have Strikers, and we also have Free Spirits. And we're going to break those particular teams down. So in today's video, we're going to focus on Slashers. We're going to put all of the characters onto a tier list. We're going to talk about like a couple of team builds, showcase where they work, characters to look out for, as well as very good bench hoppers. But if you enjoy the video, belt the like button, hit the subscribe button, do all that good stuff. With that said, let's take a look at the Slasher tier list. Alright, so once again, shout out to the tier list maker, in a link in the description, as well as the OPTC database for the images provided. First tier, we've got the Nope. Now, I put all the legends and PvP rare recruits on that have Slasher tag in the tier list, and this Nope category I have segmented into particular types as well. Now, you can do some funky stuff with like type class, with like Slashers. They all work exceptionally well. Like, as you can see here, like we've got like the Slasher kind of strength build. You can definitely do something with that. You can do some fun stuff here with like Dex and Slashers. There's more characters on the list as well, obviously. You've got Int Slashers with the Halloween units, and then you've got like Izokiku, Brook, Shiryu for like some quick Slasher shenanigans too. But all in all, these characters tend to work better just on type-based teams. So I didn't really want to showcase them in today's video, but they are Slashers, so I wanted to put them on the tier list. They are in Nope, but don't stress, they are very, very good characters nonetheless. On to defense now. These are stereotypically the Slashers you see on defensive teams. You've got like your cerebral monsters in Komurasaki and Hiyori. Frankie's great on Free Spirit teams. Strussen's great on the side team. Got to be careful with Dofi with his going through defensive damage. But I want to showcase that if you were running some defensive options or you're trying to do some bait stuff, these characters can work exceptionally well for stuff like stall out strats or for stuff like HP cards. I don't know why you're there. Get out of there. Or for some stuff like some damage output. So that's the defensive options. A bit of a weird one with Slashers. They're not really a defensive-based team unless you're running like a 5-man team. Moving on to the options now. These characters are options. And I have Wano Law here because Wano Law is just so good at nerfing Int and Powerhouse. You can easily just chuck him onto a Slasher team, as there are a lot of other like very good Psi Slashers that work exceptionally well. And you can just chuck him on just to sort of like nerf the team that you're coming up against. He's an option. He's not the go-to anymore. But with stuff like Odin and Roger, you can do stuff with like Kilgore and Nolan nowadays. Like, Law's still good. Zoro, he's okay. Like, these characters here, they're kind of whatever. This Zoro's a great nuker, and this Mihawk is actually good on Free Spirit and Slasher teams, but he does boost Slashers. They're options. If you guys are looking for options, you do have these characters. One of Law, I've got him here because most people haven't leveled up from the side video anyway, so he's a goat. Onto the solid options now. These particular characters are the ones that sort of don't make the cut of the top of the range. Now, I wouldn't level up these guys for your Slasher team per se, but if you're looking for like that one other character, that one other legend to put on the team, we do have some options here. Odin and Zoro are okay, but they're more for Free Spirit kind of centric builds. They buff Free Spirit units themselves, not really Slashers, but there are a lot of Free Spirit Slashers, so you can do some stuff there. Odin and Toki, they boost everyone, and then if you're doing like a more strengthy kind of build, you can like use them to buff strength, or if you're doing more of like a quick base build with Zoro, you can use them to buff quick as well. But all in all, they're just like an all-round booster. Dogstorm is an option for you, and so is Carrots. They're very, very good at buffing Slashers, but they're not like the be-all end-all. And then you got Smoothie. Smoothie's an interesting one because I have been reading a lot of love for Smoothie on stuff like the polls I've been doing and some of these other videos. And everyone loves this Smoothie. I don't. Like, I hate versing this Smoothie. She's a great defensive unit. I hate versing her on defense, I tell you what. However, her 50% reduction is quite nice, and I do understand why people use her. So she's a solid option. I'm going to give her some love, give her some props, because you guys have been sort of shouting at me because I haven't been giving her the love that she deserves. Moving on to this next tier. This one's a tier that I'm actually going to bring in just for the class teams. Most class teams rock a 5-man team because like it's all legend-centric. So you do want a very, very good bench unit, as we don't really have the diversity of running an 8-man team. These particular Pirate Rumble rare recruits are all bench demons. They all work exceptionally well. I haven't used Inuyasuma myself, but apparently Inuyasuma is very, very good. Kaku just got an amazing buff with his level limit break. Great when you're versing Dex teams. He is very, very good at just coming in off the bench. Pell is my go-to pick because he's so self-sufficient. Plus, depending on what you're running, if you're running like a more Dexy kind of build, you can run Pell or Dalton on the bench to buff that Dex unit if another unit dies. Brogy and Dory, they do so much damage. I go Broly or Brogy over Dory. Then you got Kalgar and Nolan, who can work nicely and smoothly as well if you're doing more Psy shenanigans stuff. If you are running like these types of units on your team, so you can run these guys in the back too. So they're your bench demons. Just pick one of them. My pick would be Pell, then probably Brogy. Dalton's good too, and so is Kaku. But it depends on what you're running in your main lineup. As for the amazing tier, now there are a lot of characters in this tier. Mainly because there's a couple of different builds, and we're going to touch on all of them today. There's a few different builds, I should say. First of all, we've got Cracker. Cracker with his level limit break gives so much CD reduction, and then if you partner him up with the level limit break and 6+ of Kizaru, you can get a butt ton of cooldowns. Then you have Odin here as well, who can also give cooldowns. And with these three alone, you can have some of your absolute demons going crazy at the back end of a fight. Or at the start of the fight, sorry. Dofi is the original demon. Nowadays, I don't tend to run Dofi per se. I think he's been replaced by a unit we'll talk about soon. But I have to give this guy more credit. I had to put him up here in Amazing because this guy carried slashes in the early stages with just the defensive bulk that he gives. Plus, he goes on in teams. Plus, he goes on driven teams. Plus, this guy was the original monster. And he still is, honestly. Like I do see a lot of people using him with his level limit break 4. He's a very, very good bulky option. And he can do some really, really cool stuff in Grand Party as well. Next, we've got the Ashura Zoro and K-Dad combination. Both of these characters just got a buff in Pirate Rumble as part of the maintenance. And they both got very, very good. Zoro got the added HP. K-Dad got the added defense and extra attack. Like that, literally an extra attack. I think K-Dad's a little bit better. Obviously, on the team with Odin, they do exceptional things. And lowering defense and then giving yourself defense is so incredibly valuable. Plus, the damage output this unit can do is so good. Zoro goes through defenses with one of his shots, and he's great at just breaking puzzle pieces for like 5-man free spirit builds, fighter builds, driven builds, cerebral builds. When a character can go through defense and you have so much attack that the slashes do, you can do some crazy things. Next, we've got Roger. I had to put Roger in Amazing because he's the best Grand Party leader, and he buffs slashes in his Grand Party. He is still quite good on either a Free Spirit team or a Slasher team. You definitely can rock him, but the reason he's not in the GOATs is because we'll talk about another unit in a second. Neko Inu 6+, and Bardo Cavendish 6+ are exceptional. They go amazingly on the Chonky Slasher team. They work incredibly well. A lot of defense, a lot of healing, a lot of damage as well, actually. Next, we've got Carrot Wanda. They're a very good option as well. I don't run them anymore. I think they work better on the Cerebral team, but they definitely can be used on slashes as well. You got this Lore. If you're running this sort of like strengthy kind of build, you can use this Lore in the front because he does boost slashes. And then you can use some of these demons in the back and actually run an 8-man team with slashes. It is doable. I don't think it's the most optimal, but it's definitely doable. Finally, we've got Shanks and Buggy, one of the newest legends in the game. I've been trying stuff with Shanks and Buggy, but the biggest downside to this particular unit is it has Shanks in the name. And the reason that's a downfall is that when we scroll up to the GOATs, you can have a look, and we have 2 units here, and one of them is a Shanks. Shanks Crew 6+ has got to be one of the most, well, probably not the most underrated, but one of the most valuable units to have in Pirate Rumble. They have quickly climbed easily into my top 5 best Pirate PvP characters or Pirate Rumble characters, because they literally make any team better. They can give level 10 defense up around that 70 seconds mark after they use their special. They give attack up, they boost slashes, and they do a 25% HP cut. Like, it's just insane what this character can do. They're so friggin' good, and then they carry all your bulk, and then you can chuck on characters like this, and then just do absolute decimation to the entire team in the first sort of 40 seconds. Roger Whitebeard are the best PvP character in the entire game, in my opinion. Their ability to do a 30% HP cut and then literally just kill 2 units is crazy. They boost Int, Psi, and then Slashes. So unfortunately, most of the teams that you're going to see them on today, they're not really buffing anyone, but everyone else is funneling the buffs into them. And literally, they will kill 2 units every single time. The character is so wonky on the teams that this character is used on. However, the character is so good in itself that it literally just carries the team for damage. So that's the tier list for Slashes. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section below. A lot of very, very good characters, as you can see in the Amazing tier. And depending on what build you want to be going for, like your speedy builds, do you want to go with your chunky healing builds? Do you want to go with your damage output builds? depending on how you want to build out these teams. But let's take a look at some fights, and let's talk about the actual builds themselves. Alright, so the first build, I didn't actually showcase in a fight. I honestly, I totally spaced until like the end of me recording these particular clips. So I'm just gonna do a few more clips on my main team that I want to talk about. The one that sort of takes down Free Spirit. It actually works exceptionally well. But this particular team was running Riot when K-Dad sort of released. Cracker 6+ with their level limit break, and Kizaru 6+ level limit break. Like I said, gives so much CT reduction. And then you have Odin as well giving CT reduction. You're just basing all your damage around K-Dad and Roger Whitebeard. Sort of just break down teams. If you find a 5-man team of basically anything, slashers are always your go-to. Whether it be fighters, shooters, cerebral, driven, powerhouse. It really doesn't matter. You can do so much damage output in that first 30 seconds with this speedy build that it works exceptionally well. Like I said, I wish I sort of showcased this team, but I do have some clips of it up on the channel before K-Dad got its buff. And this team can definitely still rock with the best of the Slash teams. As you guys can see, in the first 40 seconds, we've got all our specials ready to go. We're doing 5,500 damage with K-Dad. And the idea here is to sort of break apart the team so it loses some of its defense or its attacking prowess by the time it actually comes around to actually hit you. Now, Free Spirits were running Riot last season, and there's a lot of fights on Free Spirit today, so I do apologize about that. But even when you come up against stuff like the waifus, and I think we lose our Roger Whitebeard special here. I'm fairly certain we lose our Shanks Crew and our Roger Whitebeard special, and this particular Slash team actually can get it done. But if you did want to do a more speedy build, like I said, and you really want to like hone in on the CD reduction, this team works exceptionally well. The downside to this particular team is it lacks defense. It drastically lacks defense, the one that you're looking at on the right. So if you're coming up against stuff like Kid or King or Dofi or anyone that bypasses defense, this team is usually the one you want to go for because it really doesn't matter about your defense anyway. You're already lacking defense. The idea is to get your specials to go like crazy fast, like within the first 30 seconds, and then have your specials back ready to go by the time that you your enemy has their specials. And ideally, you've killed a couple of units to sort of break the pieces of the puzzle, so they don't do too much damage against you. But it works incredibly well. It's not the best slasher team that there is nowadays, but it's one that needs to be recognized. And back when like Roger and Odin first came out, this was the majority of the team that actually used to run Riot. You used to have like Dofi and stuff for bulk, but it works incredibly well. Alright, so let's take a look at the team now that I was actually showcasing on the left while I was talking about the speed team. And this particular team I actually put together for Free Spirits as they were running Riot in Championship. But I actually took this team into a bunch of challenge fights as well. I was using stuff like Shanks and Buggy over Shanks Crew, sort of getting a feel for them and seeing what works better. But look, Shanks Crew, they're just so damn good at providing so much bulk that they just help out drastically. It's not the be-all or end-all this particular team when you are versing stuff like Free Spirit and whatnot, because you can actually lose to bad RNG if Shanks Crew doesn't get their special off in that sort of 70-second range. Now, as you guys will see here, once we hit the 70-second mark, Shanks Crew is going to give level 6 defense to literally everyone, which is crazy. Once they use their special, not only they do a 25% HP cut, but they also give us another level 5 defense. And at that point, with K-Dad's new buff, we're sitting at around 21 defense, which is really, really powerful. Like, it's incredibly strong. And this alone just provides you enough bulk to not only pop off your specials, but usually to get your specials back a second time. However, as you guys saw there, Shanks actually got action blinded. You can get like reduction of speed, you can get blowback, and then Shanks doesn't pop off until like 55 seconds in, and at that point, you're in for a bad time. That's got to do with bad RNG, but at the end of the day, this game mode is built up around RNG, like I was saying. Like I've been saying throughout this entire series, and if you're coming up against characters that can action bind or special bind and do all those types of shenanigans, you do have to be very, very careful of what happens with your RNG bases. But all in all, the defensive bulk that Shanks Crew provides really helps your damage output of Whitebeard Roger, Zoro, and K-Dad. And the final build of the video that I want to talk about is honestly my personal favorite, that is the Chonky Slashers. Now, this one here can actually take down a lot of the challenge fights, including the Pell challenge fight, and I've actually done a showcase of this particular team up on the channel as well. It's a great Grand Party team as well. Like, it's a phenomenal Grand Party team to rock as your first team if you are using Roger as your leader, because this particular team can not only dish damage, but it can take hits. You have healing from Neko Inu, you have damage reduction and defense up through Bardo Cavendish, and then as I've been talking about with Shanks Crew getting all their bulk around that 70-second mark, you can do some incredible things. On top of that, Bardo Cavendish output disgusting amounts of damage. Odin gives fixed damage as well, and then obviously with the HP cuts that you're getting from Shanks and Roger Whitebeard, it helps out your Neko Inu and your Bardo Cavendish so damn drastically. Now, if you want, you can take off Neko and Inu from this particular team, and you can bring something like the new K-Dad on the team. That's going to give you a little bit more damage output. Definitely an option. Or you could run something like Zoro there to give you some more HP and then really get through the defense if you're versing some really defensive, bulky teams. But this particular team is one that I have been using for quite a while and does work exceptionally well. If you guys have used this team and you've replaced something like Cat Viper and Dogstorm or even Bardo Cavendish with like K-Dad or Zoro, let me know in the comment section below what particular variation of this build works out great for you. But the usual culprits are here, mainly Odin, Roger Whitebeard, and Shanks crew. I was so close to having Odin in like god tier or goats of slashes. However, Odin doesn't just solely boost slashes, he actually boosts strength as well. So he works really well alongside K-Dad. He gives a lot of help to K-Dad. And K-Dad obviously gives help to the entire slasher team. But the CD reduction and the fixed damage that Odin provides is actually very, very nice as well. You could easily replace him on this particular team, though. You don't really need the CD reduction. The fixed damage is what really like sets him apart for this particular team. But you could easily run something like Zoro to just showcase how much attacking prowess you can get as well. As you guys saw there, we actually took a Luffy Yamato special in the back end in the last 40 seconds, which means that last shot went through defense. And I think it was Shanks crew. He actually just took it like an absolute champ, tanked it on the chin, and actually made us... we're still in a position where like we're not like we're not very low either. So Neko Inu, the upside to them though is they can actually heal, and that really helps out in Grand Party. I find with Grand Party needing to take all that damage with Roger and having the healing effect from Neko and Inu means that you have a lot more survivability. Plus in Grand Party as well, if you have more units than the opposition, you're actually going to get a win. And on top of that survivability of having say 6-5 to the win, Roger Whitebeard actually get a lot of healing from that as well. Keeps them alive a lot longer for the back end of the fight, and it means that you can get another one of those Roger Whitebeard specials off. The Roger Whitebeard special is like a guaranteed 2 kill, and it's so incredibly powerful that the more Roger Whitebeard specials you get, the better off you're going to be when it comes to sort of taking out the opposition's team. So this team, the Chonky Slashers, works exceptionally well. It's a lot of fun. If you haven't tried it, definitely give it a whirl with the new 6+. It's going to be really interesting to see what Luffy Ace bring to the Free Spirit team, but what the Slashers have brought to the Slash team. Oh my god, are we actually not going to... Yeah, this is a downside. That's actually a big downside to the team, though. It goes the distance, and it doesn't have like crazy damage output like the other teams do, but if this was Grand Party, great showcase to show that if this was Grand Party, would get the win there. Even up against Sai, though, a stereotypical team that can counteract Slashers, this particular team can actually do really, really well. Now, Sai, Rebecca Toy Soldier, and Enel were actually brought in to completely cuck and nerf the Slasher team. They were running riot for so long with Roger and Odin when they first released. They literally created a PvP legend and a rare recruit to come in and nerf the crap out of them because they were just so incredibly powerful. Even still to this day, though, Rebecca Toy Soldier and Enel, whilst are very good and are great at nerfing Slasher, aren't the be-all, end-all when it comes to taking this particular team down. Now, as you see, the Shanks actually went really early for this fight, which is really, really good. Because that way we actually get all that defense. But when you are fighting Sai, it's not recommended. It is a team that I would be careful of, a team that I would be wary of, and a team that I wouldn't really go up against with Slashers because of those nerfing capabilities. So, speaking of characters to look out for, as you can see at the top here, we have stuff like Enel, Rebecca Toy Soldier, any character that can kind of go through defense, like Kid, King, Roger Whitebeard, those types of characters are pretty detrimental to the squad. And if you're using something like the Chonky Slasher team, you do need to be very, very careful of characters that can go the distance. Whilst this team has a lot of damage output, if Roger Whitebeard dies in the early stages, it is a little bit scary because you don't have that going through defensive capabilities like the other team has with Zoro. So just be mindful of that if you are rocking this this team. And if you do see Sai, just be a little bit careful and be a little bit intelligent with what team you actually bring, because bringing Slashers isn't really the way. However, as you guys seeing in this particular clip right here, like, you definitely can get it done. Like, it's definitely something you can do. However, I do believe probably the other Slasher team is probably a little bit nicer. Do we actually get the win here? I don't know if we get the win here. Maybe we do. We get that Neko Inu and that Bardo Cavendish special off, we're fine. But like I said, it's not something that I would stereotypically do. As for bench options, as I spoke about in the tier list, Pell and Dalton are my go-tos, especially if you have Zoro on the team. They're going to directly buff Zoro. Dory and Brody are great for damage output, and then you have Law as well if you're running like a more strength build. Normally Odin and K-Dad. Law works great in the front lines if you are using those characters as well. If you don't have something like Shanks Crew, you can easily run another unit on the bench and then use this Law in the front. That is definitely an option. Oh my god, do we actually lose this fight? No way we lose this fight. No shot. But yeah, if you run Law in the front with like more of a strength, nah, yeah, we're good. More of a strength. That's why I say use Pell. Right there, that's why I say use Pell. But yeah, if you're running more of a strength-based build, Law can work exceptionally well in the front too. Alright, so I'm going to round it out with a couple of these little clips at the end here just to showcase the chonky slashes in their finest form for you guys. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to go down there, belt the like button for me. If you're new to the channel or you haven't done so already, hit that big red subscribe button. Most importantly, wherever you guys are in this beautiful world, please remember to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, homies, thank you for watching, and I will catch you all in the next one.